What's up, guys? It's Devin, and welcome back to another whoa, what the fuck? I was about to say Pokemon White version. What the fuck am I talking about? Welcome back to Lost Ascension. Holy shit! What the fuck was I thinking? Well, basically, I don't remember exactly how we left off. Again, it's been a little bit of time. Not like 3 months bit of time, but enough where I've already forgotten what the fuck happens. But I know for a fact that things didn't really take off last episode, so I'm hoping things do this episode. I guess there's nothing much more to say unless to jump back into it, mainly because I have no idea what the fuck to talk about. So, let's continue reading, shall we? Oh! Glad you didn't run away on us! Mona seemed caught off guard by a sudden appearance as much as I was. Oh, okay, so I think I remember now a little bit now. So I think what had happened is, we had done our first little, our new little interaction with him or whatever, and we again don't like him. We want to get rid of him somehow. I mean, I'm the guy behind the computer screen, and I would love to see them try and kill him. That might be my horrible fucking ugly thoughts, but I don't know, maybe I'm just crazy. Monica seemed caught off guard by his sudden appearance as much as I was. Everyone else in the room tensed up a bit as they turned their heads. Nah, don't worry. This might be a little strange for me, but at least I kept my word. He looked over towards Yuri as he waited for her response. She stared back and prepared herself, seemingly hiding her emotions as best she could. Thank you for keeping your promise. I know it's difficult to dive headfirst into something such as literature when you know you're not when you aren't very good. She seemed to pause, catching herself before continuing her sentence. When you aren't very accustomed to it. She wanted to say that he was bad. I love that. She let out a quiet sigh of relief as she calmed her nerves. Oh, whatever. Like he deserves any slack. Natsuki stormed up to him and stared him down. I instinctively reached up and adjusted my bow. Don't go too far, Natsuki. Sayori told me you didn't want to join any clubs last year. Or this year, for that matter. Do you think you just come here to relax or screw around? She puffed out her cheeks in a defiant manner. If you don't take it seriously, I'll never let you hear the end of it. Got it? The expressed feeling of success on her face was quickly replaced with her resistant nature. Wow, I can't speak. I'm sorry. It's gonna be another one of those episodes where I just can't fucking read for the life of me. She went back over to her chair and sat down with a smirk. He looked at me after she spoke, and I felt a surge of anxiety rise as I stood up in front of everybody. Don't worry, guys. Devin always gives his best when he isn't, even when he isn't asked. I stopped myself from counting, knowing full well that I was supposed to compliment him after Natsuki's words. Monica snuck a smile at me as I looked over towards Yuri, her glance affirming my next move. Yuri brought you something today? Yuri regained her confidence before throwing on a very fake, nervous gasp. Wait, Sayori, it's... I smiled a bit as Yuri's passion for this whole act. Something for me? For me? You shouldn't have. He looked at Yuri curiously as she tried to deflect the approach, or whatever his curious look was supposed to qualify as. Well, it isn't that big of a deal. She looked away from him, her eyes gazing towards a certain pink-haired girl, the one who was looking back at her worriedly. Don't be shy, Yuri. Just stare. Just share it with him. Oh god, that sounded really bad. She seemed genuinely split over this whole scenario. Out of the corner of my eye, I could see Natsuki nodding, even if it was a frown. She wanted Yuri to do it too. Okay, I will. She walked back to her desk and reached down into her bag, pulling out a book. I could tell she looked uncomfortable doing this, but instead of giving in, she seemed to re-prepare herself and faced him head on. Here, I thought you should feel welcome was all. She held out the book to him, and he gripped the other end of it. He tried to take it, but Yuri didn't let go of it easily. Oh no. Monica's just watching from the distance. I gasped a little to myself, and Monica looked over at her, her eyes wide. She shook her head as she stood up straight. She mouthed, "Let it go," as she took a small step towards the two to intervene. Luckily, Yuri finally let go of the book, all while staring him down. Sorry, my grip was a little strong. Just a tad bit, Yuri. She returned to her normal nervousness as soon as the interaction continued, that brief flash of confidence disappearing once again. It's okay, Yuri, no big deal. He hooked the book under his arm and turned away, essentially floating elsewhere. And Yuri's like, give me back the fucking book! Yuri glared at him, appearing absolutely furious. Yuri, is everything okay? You seem really, well, mad. I asked my question quietly as she tried to calm down a little. No, I feel like I wanted to scream at him. She finally calmed down and she looked past me, and someone behind me. I could only guess that other person was Natsuki. He's going to you again, okay? You just need to stay calm. I know you'll be fine. I said that as she looked at me again, her peaceful nature coming back a little bit as she realized what she was doing. I'm so sorry. He disgusts me. Not wrong. I nodded in agreement to his statement. I love how the black text isn't even supposed to be horror anymore. It's just to show rage and, like, the fact that I really don't like MC. I need a sip of water because my mouth is getting dry. I normally wouldn't have agreed to do something like this, but I just couldn't argue. He's just a disgusting person. The thought rushed through my mind and left me a bit stunned by it. I heard his footsteps approaching us, and my mind completely froze. I glanced over at him and felt my body go rigid for a moment. He's coming, I whispered to Yuri before I forced my body to move and dashed back over to my desk. I sat down and looked up towards Monica, who had been standing at her podium during most of the time. Ugh. I could hear Yuri let out a nervous sigh as she went back to her desk and sat down to prepare for him. She opened up her book and almost buried her face into it, trying to not act strange, even though that by itself is kind of exaggerated. I watched him walk over to her and awkwardly attempt to converse with her. Yuri was responding with an identical fashion, her nervousness clear. That's the book you gave me, right? Yuri nodded. Yes. I was just reading some of my favorite parts again, is all. The character model of the boy seemed to shift into that thought. Just curious, how come you have 2 copies of the same book? Yuri smiled as she took a look back towards the corner of the room. Following her gaze, I only then noticed Natsuki staring hard at the 2. She was digging her fingers into her desk. Well, I just happened to buy 2. Oh my god, I squeaked. I just happened to buy 2 at the bookstore yesterday. I could hear Monica audibly laugh. Or sigh. Sigh, I don't know why. I was laughing and I was thinking of me laughing, so I said laugh accidentally. Isn't that what Yuri is supposed to say in response? I took a quick look at her and felt a smile grow on my face as I realized why she sighed. Monica wasn't sighing because Yuri had said the wrong thing. She was sighing at how ridiculous Yuri's reasoning actually was. It just didn't make much sense at all. Ah, I see. Was he really programmed just to accept that without question? How could one be so dense? That's not even remotely realistic. I looked down at... Oh, the music stopped. I looked down at my feet as the 2 continued to chat, my thoughts from a moment ago starting to hit home. He was programmed. I was programmed. It's hitting Sayori again. She getting sad. I felt my happy thoughts slowly drift away as the rain clouds hit me for the first time in a few days. Is anything about my life even real? I sunk a little bit into my chair, feeling an overwhelming amount of guilt and sadness take over. I can't believe I was led to believe he was some hero, and yet... I looked up and I watched as the character sat down next to Yuri. He was being extremely direct and blissfully ignorant as I shook my head. Sayori? I felt my body tense up as I looked over at the club president, now sitting in the desk in front of mine. She was sitting in it in such a way so she could look directly at me. Monica! I put on a bright smile as she looked at me concerned. Is something wrong? Did Yuri mess up? I asked hurriedly in an attempt to dissuade her approach on my part. I really didn't want to cause any more trouble for her. She already has enough to worry about involving us. Monica's smile shone through as she stared at me. She didn't seem to buy what I was saying. No, Yuri's been doing just fine. Natsuki, however... I remember Natsuki's look from earlier when I once again looked back to the corner. Natsuki looked completely enraged as she watched Yuri read a book with him. She was fuming as she clutched her desk. She noticed us staring and let out a large breath, her senses taken over again, and she slumped down in a bit, trying to calm down. It took a while, but she did smile at us a little before holding up her manga up to block her face to distract her from the 2 readings together up front. Sayori, oh no, I thought she forgot. I turned and looked at her, my normal smile on my face once again. Yes, Monica? My fucking music is so loud and I cannot hear myself think. Did I just skip? No, it didn't. Okay, yes, Monica? I looked at her and found myself a bit stuck on her worried expression. I didn't want to lie to her about how I felt, but I needed to, for now at least. Are you sure everything is okay? You seemed a bit down when I came over. I nodded happily. Yes. I was just thinking about how Natsuki must feel right now with the whole reading together with him thing. I can understand her irritation over having someone butt in while you're hanging out with your friends. I frowned a little at the thought of someone doing that to me as Monica searched my eyes. Her expression was telling me that she didn't entirely believe my words. You would tell me if something was up, right, Sayori? I smiled at her brightly. What the fuck is Yuri and MC doing over here? Like, what the fuck did he just say to make her jump like that? I smiled at her brightly. Yep, I trust you wholeheartedly, Monica. She seemed to calm down a little as she looked over at Yuri and him. I forgot that I do that now. My shoulder is having another one of those days where it's like, I have my arm on the mouse for so long that it just hurts. It just fucking hurts. I don't know why the hell it decides to be really, really sore sometimes. But I'm gonna try and muscle through. We've been here for like 10 minutes. She seemed to calm down a little. She looked over at Yuri and him. I have to jump in. Well, I almost stopped there. I have to jump. I have to jump in when he calls for her cute, both for the game and for Natsuki's sake. I nodded in agreement that needed to be ended as soon as possible for if it came down to it. I guess I more meant that's kind of cute. The line came up with the perfect timing, almost as if it was planned, and as it was said, Monica stood up and went over to a podium. Okay, everyone! I noticed Natsuki had put her manga down as Monica spoke aloud. Luckily, she didn't seem to hear MC's side comment towards Yuri. I think it's about time we all shared poems today. I reached into my bag and pulled out the first generic poem in my bunch, looking at it begrudgingly. This is just one, this one just seems so rushed and meh. Yuri and him talked a little bit longer before he finally went to his bag. Yuri's face went from faked joy to pure relief as she reached into her own bag and pulled out a piece of paper. Did you remember to write a poem, Devin? Monica smirked as she looked at him. She told us it would be bad, but I wasn't sure how bad it would be. Yeah. He stood up, and his character model froze. Did it now? That's kind of creepy sounding. The four of us exchanged glances as he began to pickle girl. The pickle girl. I said pickle twice, and I'm not happy with myself. Pick girl process, something that I could see in front of him as small text boxes with our names on them. I can't fucking do this. I literally can't. Ooh, it's MC's turn. Oh, it's like the original game now. Now we can like choose. Now we're literally playing DDLC at this point. So what did I do in the order of the original DDLC? I think I went Sayori, Yuri, Natsuki, then Monica, but I could be wrong. I don't think I'm wrong though. I don't feel like there'd be something I forget. I know for a fact I did Sayori first because, you know, that she's my favorite. Ah, now it's Sayori's fucking... That didn't even give us a chance to do our own point of view. I wanted to see DDLC for a second. It would have been really cool to see. I don't know, maybe it's just my little thought and process. I watched him intently, nervously pressing my fingers together under my desk as he selected my name. I shouldn't have gotten my hopes up. Of course he'd pick me first. I am his childhood best friend, after all. Oh! I sat back into my chair normally, facing forward as he approached me and sat down. His character pretty much threw his poem at me. That sounds very aggressive, and I scrambled to get it in my hands, the paper fluttering about for a moment. Meanie. I managed to catch it before it fell, and I read over it at a slow and methodical pace. It's probably just gonna be a bunch of Sayori words, isn't it? Just like Doki Doki New Eyes and Rain Clouds. Like, it's literally just a list of 20 words. Just like Yuri taught me. Oh shit. It's like somewhat of an actual poem. A sweet and salty bun. Oh no! That is not the first thing that came to mind. Woo! That's a fun title. That's very revealing, don't you think, MC? A sweet and salty bun. The tragedy is sweet love, its heart, its passion, all riddled with hope. Something a lazy, shameful fool would fall for. A daydream. The singing, the dancing, his happiness even in the dark. A childhood friend? What a waste of character. That sounds really awful. Love, like an adventure, its story made of many colors. Since it reaches a rainbow through the rain clouds. Crying in bed. No family. That's what you are, and that's what you'll always be. I don't fucking understand any of what this kid is fucking writing. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's better than what the fuck I could write, but I still don't understand it. I felt confusion burn itself into my head as I read over the poem. It didn't seem like a poem and more of a hate rant or a vent, but it seemed like he was trying to attack me? Is he sharing this with everyone? This is really mean. I looked up at him and smiled cheerfully. This is a good poem. No, it's not. I mean really good. I gave it back to him as soon as I finished saying that, my hands going back under my desk, my fingertips pressing on one another lightly. I hide my slightly nervous, slightly upset emotions under my casual demeanor of a Sayori classic. Positive thinking. Is this your first time writing a poem? I remember Monica telling me to reword that sentence for some reason. I could hear a chair shift and Natsuki stifling a laugh in the background out of his hearing range. Of course, it's not that good. Am I the kind of guy who would be writing poems in his spare time? I shrugged as I looked at him. Actually, you kinda do. Plus, you're an actual NEET. Instead of saying something mean in response, I do my best to sound happy that he's here. I guess you're right, but that's the best part. You actually wrote one. That's still kind of a slap to the face, Sayori. I know you didn't actually write it, and that made me dislike that line altogether. It just reminds me that you're part of the club now. I smiled widely as I said this. Well, of course. I'm not really into it yet, but that doesn't mean I'll break my promise. Promise? What the fuck did I just say? Promise. I smirked to myself as he said that, looking at him directly, not to rush him, but I didn't want to talk. Yeah, and I'll make sure you have lots of fun here, too. I said that seriously. I said it seriously. Natsuki stifled another laugh to this. Why is she laughing so much? Is it bad? Alright, I'm gonna hold you to that then. I laughed a little as I held up my poem. Now you'll read mine. I handed it to him and he nearly dropped it immediately. Did he just... He barely even looked at it. Trying to understand what happened, I think about it. I felt a different kind of feeling rise up in my chest. Kind of hard to process under a pressure of staying in character. I feel genuinely hurt. She said he was mean, but that's just rude. Sayori, this is just a guess, but did you wait until this morning to write this? The feeling got worse. Now I just felt offended. No! I said it loudly, startling Yuri and causing Monica to look up at me. I stepped back, trying to maintain my composure, and not call him a meanie. Just a little bit? I wanted to let him know how much of a jerk he was being to me. Was he this bad with the others? You can't answer just a little bit to a yes or no question. His words tear me away from my own train of thought, and I nearly gave him a snappy response before remembering what kind of situation I was in. Somewhat instinctively, I quickly glanced over at Monica. She was watching me carefully. She blinked a few times, slowly giving me a small smile, a wordless display of encouragement and support. I forgot to do it last night. Monica's smile got bigger as she went back to work. She seemed to be trying to stay busy and not pay the attention to any situation at need, I'm sorry. Well, at least that makes me feel a little better about myself. I looked at him directly, my offensive meter off the charts. Before I really know what's happening, I sit up and yell at him. Okay, can you stop being so mean? Oh god, this is not part of the script, Sayori! I tried my best, okay? He looked at me, a brief flicker of concern and apology crossing Avatar's face, but as usual looking back almost immediately with no emotion or anything really displayed. Yeah, I didn't mean to say it was a bad poem. It came out nice, or how should I put it? It sounds just like you. I knew that wasn't an apology from just the start. But if I don't go along with it, you really mean it? I tried to maintain composure and not yell at him once again. Please change the subject, especially that last line. I felt a quick surge of relief as I looked at him, trying to ignore his awful rudeness and inconsiderate attitude towards his supposed childhood friend. Perfect. Breakfast. I talked to him about it for a little while, keeping myself distracted until the game decided it was time to move on. I looked around the room after he went back to his normal spot. Everyone was waiting patiently for his next move. It didn't even do the flash this time. Oh, Yuri! Time for Yuri. I should have honestly done Yuri first, because technically MC did hang out with Yuri today. I felt like, but wait a minute. If we hang out with Yuri today, why the fuck was the poem for us? I felt my nerves steel up when he selected my name, my mind edging towards simply ignoring him when he came over, but I knew already that was going to happen. I looked at him with whatever interest I could muster as he sat down and put his poem in front of me. I glanced down at it and back up at him before pulling the piece of paper over to me and reading it over. That's a lot of overs. The Naifu Waifu! Oh no, MC, you didn't! Woo! That's such... You might die tonight! The determination of a vivid yet crimson universe. It's heaven-sent judgment, atone, for it's your destiny. The candle flickers? Question mark? How stupid of a metaphor do you have to make before you get the point across? But a captive you remain, forevermore wishing to be unrestrained from this cage. Anything you would breathe to your anxiety. Washing to flee, waiting Wishing, that's a 1. That's not an I. That's a 1. Wishing to flee with insight of life. Ghosts. How God that, what the fuck? I can't read it. They all look like ones and numbers. To your own horror. To your own disarray, I'm sorry. Your contamination of thought leaves you in vertigo. Shut up. The word you describe yourself with. It's a lie. Is it now? I read it over if you. I can't take this seriously. I can't fucking read. I could not read his hand. It was awful. I hated it. I hated every fucking part of it. I read it over a few times trying to formulate what was going through his head. This doesn't seem practical or reasonable. I glanced over at Monica. She wasn't really paying attention to me. Her focus entirely trained on her notebook. Did she mention him writing so simple or mean? I read it over again, trying to digest the fact that he had written such awful things. I start to speak, but I felt myself drawn into looking at the specifics. The determination of a vivid yet crimson universe. I nearly missed him responding to me while I thought this over. What was that? I looked up at him and handed him his poem back. Although I was against it, I had to talk out with him and give him advice on his never-improving poetry. You did pretty well for your first time. You seem embarrassed at this. You used some symbolism and attempted to formulate some well-designed images, but it did fall flat a few times. You seemed to be listening intently. I didn't really enjoy his interaction at all. Most new writers express this issue anyway, so don't feel bad. I smiled again, grimacing inside. Truth is, I want you to feel pain. The thought ran across my mind, and it made me feel a bit exhilarated. Oh no, Yuri's going fucking nuts! Right, thank you, Yuri, bye! I smiled at him. Can I see your poem now? No, run! Just get the fuck away, she's gonna kill you! Can I see your poem now? I handed him the first written poem. While its symbolism was pretty basic, its meaning shared a lot about my idea of love. He read through it pretty quickly. He didn't seem to care all that much. Not that I really do either. Sarah, I have such terrible handwriting. He looked at me confused. What? I wasn't thinking that at all. I acted surprised to his response. But it took you long to read it, so I thought maybe. I felt my Rolls Royce? I felt my voice raise a little bit out of excitement. I can't lie, I had been looking forward to this part. Well, I just don't read script very often. I actually think your handwriting's pretty. I smiled a little bit. That's a relief to hear. I looked at the poem being given back to me. I still don't like it. Also, I like the poem. Even though it's short, it's very descriptive. I nodded a little bit. It wasn't too short? I felt a Natsuki joke crawl up my skin, but I let it go. I'll use it later. Not at all. I smiled again as he continued to pester me with questions. He even completely missed the simple point of the ghost being experiences coming back. How did Sayori manage to stay friends with him? Finally, he stood up and went back to his usual spot, my previous thought lingering. They weren't actually friends, were they? And if so, I looked over at Sayori, a short but stinging realization hitting me. To whom should I share my poem with next? Natsuki! We're about to get our asses handed to us, huh? I can already feel it. I need to have another sip of water. He tapped on the name Natsuki as clear as day. At least I can get this over with now. I watched as he came over and pulled a chair up before sitting down, his face still pretty much lifeless. I wasn't sure what to say for a moment, the two of us looking at each other before I finally spoke up. So, let's see that poem of yours. I smirked widely as he nervously held up his poem and handed it to me. Let's just see how garbage this actually is. The fun oh no. The fun soon? Because it's tsundere, so I don't know. There's no real way to say that. At least if they were trying to make a thing out of it, it didn't work. Kisses, cuddles, and kittens. Heartbeat and nibble. Why do you keep your manga in the closet, Natsuki? This is a straight up question. Why do you keep it in your closet? I want to know. Pink cheeks and kawaii smirks. Cupcakes and chocolate. Is it because you have no room at home? That's fucked. A Doki Doki summer hope? Oh, that's a mod. Cupcakes, parfaits, chocolates, and sweet strawberries, baking is all you do. Because I'm pretty sure you have plenty of room in your pantry. Mean, grumbling, anger. What's the word? Baka. I'm gonna fucking smack the shit out of this kid. I read it over a few times. What the actual hell is this? I snatched a look up at him. His character model was staring right at me. It's just a bundle of words. I noticed that at this point, words seemed to at least follow the pattern of being more rude the farther down they got. Then I started to notice the odd sentences written between the poems more clearly. Is he talking about my home life? I felt a twinge of rage override my senses before letting out a soft breath. I need to stay calm and focus on him. Monica said he started doing this a while ago. I put it down. He looks angry. I put it down and looked up him. I put it down and looked up him a bit ticked off. Even that didn't make sense. Even with my best efforts to calm down. If you're not gonna take this club seriously, then just go home. I resisted bursting out laughing at him, seeing his the face of this thing contort into fake confusion. What? Harsh? I let my confidence raise as I looked at him with a smirk. Do you expect me to believe you can actually try, that you actually tried? How stupid do you think I am? The color in his face faded away as he looked down at the paper and back at me. I'm not a writer. Maybe it's not very good, but yeah, I did put in effort. We all start somewhere, right? I shook my head as his character model stopped speaking, its mouth partially moving still. It's whatever, you'll get better or something. You just need more time to practice. The model nodded in response. Fair enough. I pulled up the fake poem for the day and slid it over to him on my desk, my smirk fading away. Read mine, I guess, I don't really care. I looked away as the character looked back at it, seemingly scanned over it and practically threw it back at me. I barely managed to keep it from fluttering off the desk. I can't read, I'm sorry. Yeah, you don't like it, do you? I could read it clearly on his face. What a stupid guy. I like it. I felt a bit of surprise at this response. Seriously? How do I know you're not lying to me? He shook his head. But I'm not. I really did like it. I smiled widely. You're just saying that. Nobody actually likes my writing. Everyone thinks that we have to be all fancy and stuff like in high school or whatever. I felt a creep oh god, I just squeaked. I felt a squeak. I felt a creep of doubt go through my head as I said this, thinking about when I was sitting next to Yuri earlier. Will she like my poetry? The simple writing can be used to establish a much broader idea just by simply existing. Since people get flatlined, kind of like this one. I didn't really say any of that with much thought. Guess that's what Monica meant by theoretical perfection. He agreed with me and started to talk again, but I wasn't really listening anymore by that point. My thoughts focused on Yuri. She's honestly the nicest person I know. I was only partially aware of him leaving because of the chair making a loud scratching noise as he got up and walked away. My train of thought interrupted as I watched him go back to his original spot, the familiar option screen coming up again. And now it's Monica. Monica. Hello, green screen. Haha, green screen. See what I did there? I saw him tap the screen on my name. I swallowed the spit trapped in my mouth as he approached. Were you gonna spit on him? I used to. Like him? Love him? I stared at him as he stood in front of my podium and nervously looked away from me. That used to be cute, too. I smiled at him out of natural reaction. I didn't like seeing people all nervous, even if I also felt that way around him. Hi, Devin. I looked at him brightly. My fucking shoulder kills, I'm sorry. Having a good time so far? He looked at me with and finally nodded a little. Yeah. He said it before looking away again. Well, that's good. And if you have anything you want to let me know, just say the word, okay? I smiled at him as he looked back at me. Alright, I'll keep it in mind. I looked at him and narrowed my eyes a little bit before smiling brightly again. Still the same old guy, huh? You must not be smart enough to know. Are you gonna share your poem with me now? I said it definitely, because the other girls looked up towards. None of this makes sense. Towards the front of the room at me. If that's the case, I think they used the wrong two, if anything. I felt a bit nervous, admittedly, with all of them now staring. It's kind of embarrassing, but I guess I have to. I laughed a little bit as I took the poem from him, preparing myself for whatever it is he wrote. Okay, error. Is it true that our realities are separated so easily? Just such a simple fix, a single tweak. Monica, it could be all ours, just ours. Just. Is this what you're expected to see? This is what you expected to see, isn't it? Sayori? Well, guess what? You just wasted your time reading this. I blinked a few times as I read this over and over. Huh? This one's very new. I smiled brightly as I handed it back. That was excellent, Devin. I was going ooh in my head the whole time. I kept up my bright smile as I continued to speak. I guess I underestimated your skills as a writer, but I guess that makes it so much better when I keep my expectations low. I smirked a little bit. I was gonna play with him a little bit today. That way, it always counts when I put in some effort. Wow, I can't fucking read. I laughed a little bit at this remark. Well, I guess it worked out. Wait, hold on, what the fuck? Why did Wait. Isn't Devin supposed to say this? Yeah, because I laughed a bit with this remark. I don't fucking know. It came out really nice. I fucking give up. I avoided pointing out anybody, knowing this would likely indicate a failure on the poetry for the game. This is a good start. I then brought out my first normal poem and handed it off to him, watching him closely as he practically ripped through it in under a minute. How many times have you seen that poem? He held it out to me as I took it. He was strangely silent before he spoke up quietly. It's very free form, if that's what you call it. Sorry, I'm not really the right person to ask for feedback. I laughed a bit at his discomfort. It's alright. It's just a lot more popular these days to write like that. He then asked something I used to dread greatly. What was the inspiration behind this one? I looked at him and smiled as awkwardly as I could. Let's just say I had a bit of an epiphany recently. While not entirely a lie, I'm not going to let out on the real ideas going on behind closed curtains. Anyways, here's Monica's writing tip of the day. I got to my normal pose. I did generally feel relaxed like that. Sometimes when you're writing a poem or a story, your brain gets too fixated on a specific point. If you try too hard to make it perfect, then you'll never make any progress. Just force yourself to get something down on the paper and tidy it up later. Another way to think about it is this: if you keep your pen in the same spot for too long, you'll just get a big dark puddle of ink. So just move your hand and go with the flow. Sure, it's a repeat, but it's what he wants anyway. Thanks for listening. I smiled a bit more as he finally turned and walked away. I took a short glance at everyone. Fuck! They were all smiling supportively, my eyes resting on Sayori finally, as she waved a little bit before getting back into position on her desk. Trying your hardest like always, huh? I smiled a little as I focused on my podium to continue planning out for tonight. Sayori and I had started to discuss it since she seemed the most interested. Of course, balancing the coding with the actual poetry writing was plenty to do. I can't fucking read, I'm sorry. And of course, this whole mess. My fucking shoulder is killing me. Oh! Woo! After he finished talking to the last of us, he went back to his seat and relaxed, his attention going around the room rather wistfully as he looked over at Sayori and I first. So, are you alright? I put on a smile as I looked over in our direction. I was honestly trying to cover up the anxiety from the intense stare he was giving me. I guess so? Sayori looked at me with a bit less of a smile, her frown more obvious as she stared at me. She looked a bit lost almost, my own smile retracting a little as I looked back at her. We can talk when we're alone tonight, alright? Sayori smiled a little as I said that. Just yesterday, you wouldn't have done that. I guess I really am affecting you, huh? I felt myself blush a bit as she mentioned the change I hadn't even noticed until that point. I looked away for a moment or two to collect myself before looking back at her, my smile still bright. Yeah, I appreciate it a lot, Sayori. Excuse me, she let her smile waver a little bit as she looked down again, concerning rising in my gut. Concerned? I said concerning, huh? I didn't mean to say that. If you want to talk about the things tonight, I'll be here. I'll be there for you, okay? She nodded as I took a quick look to the right. The character model had shifted his vision towards the back of the room where Yuri and Natsuki were sharing poems with one another. Come on, you two, please don't mess this up. So what'd you think of my poem, Yuri? Yuri said it clearly with a little more bravado than I had expected. I felt a bit of nervousness crawl up my back as Yuri looked down at the paper and simply slid it back over to Natsuki. It's cute, I guess. Natsuki seemed shocked. She was staring right at Yuri as she made a terribly over-exaggerated face. Oh god, this can't be. I snapped my fingers once to draw the attention to myself. Yuri looked in my way and nodded, a certain determined look crossing her face as she stared back at Natsuki. Natsuki, your poem is short. Natsuki looked at Yuri confused. She didn't remember this part, and neither did I. It's as short as you are. Oh, she used it. Yuri smiled and Sayori poorly stifled a laugh. Excuse me. At least Sayori isn't feeling as down anymore. Did you make fun of my height? Natsuki seemed absolutely fierce. She stood up straight and puffed out her chest. Well, I'll have you know that I don't need to write all long and stuff. People like shorter poems. She seemed pretty ticked off at that point. Sensitive about your height, much? Plus, I know Sayori really liked my poem, and so did Devin. I looked over at Sayori, who shrugged at me in response, our attention going back to the now standing woman and the much shorter Angry Sundari. Well, excuse me, but I know that the amount of detail I use is necessary to add to the story and feeling. So unless you just suggest something that works in my technique, I suggest you stay quiet. Brutal. I can feel Natsuki's rage rise as she stared off against Yuri. Plus, I know the newest member liked my poem as well, so your point is disproven. Yuri seemed awfully standoffish all of a sudden. Wait, are those two actually fighting? I felt the worry. Way to solve the case, Monica. I felt the worry build up as I started to approach them. But as I started to go over there, Sayori walked right in front of me to confront them instead. My head felt a little dizzy as I sat down on Sayori's desk, watching everything unfold. I was feeling more than a little bit useless at the point. Well, you know what, Stop! Both of you! Sayori's voice rang out loudly to my surprise, and to add to it, Sayori looked a bit furious as she stood there, looking at the two of them. Why are we fighting over this? Seriously? Both Yuri and Natsuki looked dejected, a clear streak of shame coming over them as they shrunk away from her. Natsuki, you're a fine writer. Your poetry skills are amazing. Sayori walked over to her and put a hand on her shoulder. Plus, everything you do is cute. How you write, how you react, all of it. She took in a quick breath. And your height? Who cares? Your height is just a part of who you are, and nothing anybody can say will change that. Natsuki seemed a bit shocked at her, but her expression was displaying clear shame as Sayori turned toward Yuri. Yuri, you're just as good as a writer as your own regard. You've developed your own style and you have such a magical way with words. I witnessed Yuri take it in sharply, her expression shifting into embarrassment. I know you want Natsuki to improve her own word choice or whatever, but she's perfectly fine as it is. Her poetry is just as expressive, even if it isn't as long or as complex as yours. Yuri nodded to Sayori and took a step back from the two of them, her expression once one of pure determination. Now, apologize, the both of you. Oh, Sayori means business. The two girls look at Sayori and then each other, Natsuki swallowing once before speaking softly. I'm sorry I got so worked up over this, Yuri. She looked downcast as Yuri tried to collect her thoughts before speaking. It's okay, Natsuki. I'm sorry for making fun of your height. I thought it'd be a nice joke to help lighten the mood. Yuri looked down from Natsuki while the two tried to figure out what to say next. I'm gonna make some tea. Natsuki looked up at her and smiled a little. Can I join you? Even Sayori seemed surprised to look as she looked back at me. I didn't really know what to say to that. Sure. Yuri motioned for Natsuki to follow, the two of them heading into the tea set, grabbing it and giving all of us a glance before walking out of the clubroom door. And I think we're gonna leave it there. My shoulder fucking kills, and we're outside the clubroom, and I think this is a good spot to save for the time being. So guys, I'm enjoying this. That was definitely eventful. There was definitely a little more going on in there than there was last episode, so I'm very, very happy for that. But for now, I am going to leave it here. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. I'd love to in addition to the channel. Guys, I got a Discord. Come check me out outside YouTube. It's going to be a fun time for all. Hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I did making it. I'll see you guys in my next one. Goodbye.